I'm going to go through the Betz Botz events in May, which happened about 2 or 3 weeks ago. We didn't do as well. We went 2-2, didn't quite make the bracket, which is huge disappointment after getting third place at the RSL event. There's some problems that I think we ran into at RSL, but we also ran into here, and I'll go over that. And those changes are reflected in the version 3 of Bigfoot, which hopefully I'll get to talk about next week. I'll go into depth in that, but right now we're going to focus on the fights. Maybe I'll talk about that to the stream after I record the analysis for the fights. Before we get started, this was a scalar kit. This was our first fight of the day, and this is just a regular scalar kit. They've been becoming more popular because they've been doing well. There's a simple kit. They got stuck in the wall, so they had to really back up. When bots get stuck with their weapon into the arena, they get an unstick. If this would happen a second time, then they would be out. I know I said I wouldn't talk over it, but this isn't actually fighting, so I guess I'll keep talking. um, this happens a second time during this during during this event. Spoiler alert. And then I think I get high centered or something. Having the two wheels alternated like that is not ideal. Now I'm going to go through the analysis. Yeah, this was not a great fight for us. I think there's a little bit of bad luck. I'll break it down a bit more about. But yeah, this is super disappointing. We fought a scalar and won easily last time, but this was a fresh scalar. Um, as you kind of saw, I kind of biffed the box rush because I wasn't. I would have hit them there, and I had to recenter because for whatever reason with my controller and transceiver, I can't like turn while moving super well, even if I try. But yeah, I was headed. I would have hit him on the side, so I had to redo that. That was almost bad. They almost got tires there. We'll just skip over this part. Here I'm kind of being careful. I'm a little bit scared. That just was bad luck, I think, just getting my flipper torn off. The flipper's going to be lower, but we'll still be susceptible to that until we are able to get it completely in the body. But that's kind of part of having a flipper up there. It kind of is vulnerable to that. But that's only happened like a couple times. That's just felt real bad. But even after that, we're still doing pretty good keeping up on him, being a little bit aggressive. Almost lost tires there. Also, it's worth mentioning I didn't know what two tooth was, and that's why I have the forks going into this one. I would have rather not have the forks going into a fight against a horizontal, but I just went with it because it would feel shitty to be like, oh, I'll switch at the last minute. Yeah, because not great losing that tire there. What the hell? I just broke it. Um, yeah, because unfortunately what happens here is I sort of prop them up and they kind of come back onto the tire. Let's try to slow it down real quick. Speed. Let's see how it happened exactly. Oh, well, we got to circle back. Yeah, I'm not quite as squared up as I want to be. I should have backed off and come back more squared up. I couldn't quite correct in time. And this is where I lost the other tire, so we'll just keep it slowed. They just sort of like slid off of my front there. I think part of it was actually having the forks. Just yeah, I should have backed off, but I wanted to get underneath them. We're gonna we're gonna mute it while mute it. Yeah, mute it while we do that. While I'm playing it slow motion. Yeah. And then yeah, I tried to commit to it. I should have yeah, I went forward. I should have backed up at that point, but and then we're just dead in the water at that point. But yeah, I think when I get into locked horns, I need to get these. I should have backed off when we were in those situations, but I didn't want them to keep speeding up. Another thing I want to do is have an actual metal front for the horizontal fights. But that was that fight. I could a little bit of bad luck, and they just sort of ended up falling on my tires, which was rough. Because I think even if I had wheel guards, those tires would have still been hit. This is, although it looks like another scalar kit, this is not a scalar kit. It's sort of based off it. We fought them at RSL in the semifinals, and it was a close fight at semifinals. Yeah, that was not super happy at this point, losing the front. That the problem with that is because actually on Bigfoot, you can see the TPU. Yeah, basically it broke like right here. I don't know what she was gonna say, but yeah, it basically broke right here. But yeah, the problem is that there's no TPU here. In the new version, this and that are the same, are part of the same to prevent that from happening. Yeah, I'm surprised that didn't happen at the other fight, other time we fought. But yeah, it that's a thing that I'm changing, like I described, since these two parts aren't connected. They're going to be connected in the future. That way, it'll be a lot harder for that to happen. Even if this gets cracked, it can stay connected. Um, but yeah, let's kind of go through how that went down. Actually, looking back at it, you can't you can't tell from the picture from the video, but looking at it later, this isn't the version from that fight, but there was a gash kind of into the flipper. So I think what happened is they basically, instead of normally hitting it here, they hit like the side of the wedge. So basically just there was a side load when normally it's a front load. Instead of it hitting like this, it just like knocked it off. It basically got a cantilever. I'm considering putting like sort of a chamfer or a fillet right here to possibly mitigate that, but I'm not sure that would even do anything. But but yeah, that was a little bit of lack of luck because normally I'd try to hit him like on the wedge to the side, but that was one of the first times it was face to face. And then pretty much as we'll see after this, basically, I don't do a very good job. It kind of throws me off. I know in my brain that, okay, I need to hit it with the other wedge, but I just do a terrible job of keeping the actual wedge I have left centered, as you can tell. Because the first two tires that go are the side on the side that, yeah, I lost. Happens twice. Yeah, because he's on the left side of me. But yeah, because he came in. Let's look at before we lost that tire. Yeah, he was to the left, kept ending up on the left side of me, and I should have backed up and made sure he was on the right side of me. Yeah, I don't know why I went in after I wasn't lined up properly. Yeah, he's on the left side of me. I should have gotten out of there, like driven over on that one. But yeah, it's funny how I have one tire here and I'd move more movement in the other fight when I had two tires. But yeah, pretty much he just finishes me off here. Luckily, that was gentle compared to the other stuff. But yeah, that was rough. I kind of talked about what I do differently, mostly building the bot and sort of being a bit more careful when I have only half my wedge, if that does happen, because who knows, it could happen again. But yeah, we went 0-2 at the start. Luckily, it is modified Swiss, so we're able to still get two more fights, even though we lost the first two. And also, Midnight didn't end up lost a later fight, even though they won this one, and they didn't make it to the bracket despite winning the last event. So that was pretty crazy. The one they lost, I don't remember what happened in their first fight, but in their second loss, they ended up flying into the pit. Another homemade horizontal. I'm not going to talk as much about this, but there's a few times in this fight I'm surprised I didn't get my tires. I really misplayed, like as we saw in the beginning. Flipping him upside down definitely made it so they couldn't drive as well. I kept hoping that they would get stuck in the corner, but they just weren't, and I kept having to engage. I tried to flip them up on their side, like I did with like Kingslayer, but it wasn't quite working. And I accidentally flipped them right over because otherwise I would just be sitting them watching them flail. But yeah, they just do so little damage. It's crazy. Yeah, I'm talking over it because I'm not gonna go back and analyze it because they weren't a super effective horizontal, but also that tapping was 10-second marker. I don't know why it's that. But yeah, that was a pretty easy fight. We won that handedly, but they couldn't do much to us. But three horizontals in a row, but three slightly different horizontals. Actually, the two were not slightly different, but or not as different as this one. But yeah, not much to talk about there. We ended up winning, so I feel a lot better after going the two losses, finally getting a win. So then we had one more fight. We actually fought a little bit earlier before the rest of the bracket because he had to leave for his like daughter's rehearsal or something. So then there's this one. It's a Belladonna is a vertical spinner. And yeah, spoiler on the length of the video, but one thing I noticed the problem with Belladonna has is they need forks if they're going to be a vertical spinner, as you see. Yeah, I let them kind of get me on the side, but since they don't have forks, they weren't really able to capitalize. The flipper can flip people over. I decided after the two losses earlier, I just wanted to get a knockout. But yeah, coming back, I'm trying to think of even if he had forks, some of the we a lot of front on hits. Because there was one time he might have been able, if he had forks, he would have gotten to the side, but got stuck. Forks got stuck in the wood. But yeah, there was like one side where they kind of got to the side, but it's so hard to get bite with the weapon they have, especially because we're a relatively low bot. So unless you're able to feed us into your weapon, but yeah, they were in another fight like or another event about a week ago. Still didn't decide to put forks on that thing. That's the one thing that would make their bot much more interesting. But 2-2 event, and we kind of were able to recover from the shaky start. Either way, it's very disappointing, and I'm hoping some of the changes and